Welcome to episode 9 of Truth Seekers. I'm your host, Bryan Radzin, of course. Hopefully you recognize me by now, but if not, you will soon. A lot of things have been going on for sure, as they pretty much always have throughout history, throughout generations. But today, and I know he passed away a few days ago, and by the time you all see this, it's going to be probably even longer time, but I can't help but talk about John Lewis. Well, more specifically, Good Trouble and how that can relate to us in our present time, what we can do, what we've already been doing. You know, getting off our asses to do something. Good Trouble. Goes back to the old quote. I'm not even sure who said it now, but might have been Emerson, someone like that, maybe Thoreau. When there are unjust laws, we are unduly required to break the law. Maybe it's Mark Twain. But think about it. If the law is wrong, we're obligated to break the law. Now, that's not saying that if we think the crime of murder is wrong, we should just go ahead and start murdering people. No, of course not. We shouldn't do that. But what it means is us humans have evolved and progressed, sometimes at, slower than a snail's pace. It happens. I mean, it eventually happens, right? Progress happens. Sometimes it's slow. How do we push the ball forward? Well, sometimes when people are so set in their ways and set in generationally ingrained, racial sensitivities, it's hard to get rid of. It takes a chisel or a hammer, or maybe just the right vocalization, right? Relating to people. So that's what it really comes down to. Relating to people. So Good Trouble, right? So today's age, we have an election coming up. We have a lot of protests boiling over in the streets that have really been there, and things have been going on for ages. I often question whether the increased shooting of unarmed people by police, or should I say, in particular, unarmed black people by the police, it's probably always been going on. Obviously, it's always been going on. I just question sometimes whether it's happening more now or we're just seeing it more because everybody has a supercomputer in their pocket and a camera and a video machine camera, whatever you want to call it. And, it's hard. It's hard to know, really, whether it's happening more or not. Obviously, there'd be passionate opinions on both sides. Probably is happening a little more, maybe, considering the leadership. The president, George W. Bush, did cause Obama to come in office, our first African-American president. First African-American president caused Trump to come into office because of the backlash. Now, with this country's history, I can't expect that we'd have any less of a backlash against our first black president, but again, he pushed the envelope. He pushed the envelope forward, progress. Sometimes pushing progress through uncomfortable situations is good trouble. Putting yourself on the line, knowing you may get arrested, but putting forth as much passion and as much energy as the situation deserves, because some of us deserve to be fought for. We all deserve to be fought for, but some of us need some extra help because of history, because of stories, because of our family, because of whoever has told us for years that, the other person is the problem, they're the problem, don't ever, cross them, Don't ever let them cross you, kind of thing. But okay, so where do we go from here? You know, with that history. Well, we have to put our life on the line, like I was saying. But you have to be passionate. It has to be the right thing. It has to be doing the right thing because you know it's the right thing because you feel passionate about it. Say your congressman put in a law that specifically, I don't know, made it so a certain segment of the population couldn't vote, or booted a bunch of people off of the ballot, or, I don't know, killed somebody, police killing again of somebody. If that happens and people rise up, what about the Wendy's? The guy gets shot, then they burn down the restaurant. Is that good trouble? I don't know. Did that really have any effect? Now, good trouble maybe is more likely referring to nonviolent struggles. Although sometimes violence needs to happen. Someone comes at you with a gun, you're not going to go back at them with a feather. Although maybe you should, or a flower, or something to bring them love, but that's a whole nother subject. Nonviolence. Civil disobedience. Civil disobedience. That's it. Protest. They're going to throw dogs. They're going to throw water cannons. They're going to, well, not throw water cannons. They're going to shoot water cannons. They do all kinds of stuff to put you down. But why? Because you threaten the system that they've put in. When we stand up for what we believe in, when we stand up for the lesser of us, when we stand up for people we otherwise might not have, people we don't even agree with, but we stand up for them because they're human. Why isn't this happening right now? Why isn't this happening during these protests? Why aren't opposite sides getting together? Because, you know, like I've heard a comedian and other people say before, when did rednecks become such a fan of the police? When did people who were gun rights owners, and I'm definitely not equating gun rights owners or gun owners and gun rights people with rednecks. That's certainly not what I'm doing. All I'm saying is when did they become such a fan of the police? I mean, if you talk to anybody, and I'll certainly do some episodes on guns and gun control, or, you know, some conversations at least to get it going. Most of the time when you talk to people and you ask them, well, why do you have 50 guns and 2,000 rounds of ammo? 5,000, 10,000, whatever. They'll usually say, well, you know, I have to keep these in case of a tyrannical government takes over. In case they come trying to snatch us away. Well, the protests, federal marshals and stuff are starting to back off now, but what do you call it when you have Americans standing up for their First Amendment rights of free speech, petitioning their government for redress of grievances, all that, freedom of press, when they're utilizing that, and then you have unmarked vans with men in fatigues and no identifying marks, no identifying anything, and you have them shoved into vans and taken away and arrested, and who knows? Now, granted, a lot of these people were probably let go because that's, you know, protesters. They basically arrest them just to get them out of the way. So if you call unmarked vans, people getting thrown in, unnamed government officials, wouldn't you call that the very essence of a tyrannical government? Wouldn't you call that the very essence of an unmarked big black SUV coming by and snatching someone off the street and driving away? Wouldn't you call that a police state? I mean, wouldn't you call that hypocrisy? When you have these same gun rights people who have always complained about saving and stockpiling against the tyrannical government come out on the sides of the government. Like literally what is going on shows your hypocrisy. All of us humans have it. I've talked about it before in a previous episode. A lot of times, although these episodes may overlap. But what do you call that? That is hypocrisy. So standing up to that, standing up to a directly tyrannical government, I don't think there's anything more American. And I don't think there's anything, there could be any better trouble than that. Standing up for what you believe in, putting your life on the line, kind of like the Egyptian uprising, Tahrir Square, where they overthrew a 30-year dictator in 2.5 weeks. Although, look at what happened. A few years later, they do elect their first democratically elected person ever. He ends up getting arrested and given the death penalty. The military retakes back over, who took over the first time. Then somehow one of their generals ends up running and becomes president. Now that's exactly what happened in 2011, and it took them about 9 or 10 years to circle back. Was that good trouble worth it, even though in the end it didn't pan out? Well, of course it was. We can't let these people just walk all over us. We can't let these fascist dictator wannabes and people that actually are authoritarian, corporate, oligarchical, I mean, you can insert 15 definitions right there, or 15 adjectives. So what's the point? We got to get out there and stand up. We got to get out there, make good trouble by putting ourselves on the front lines, protest against some of these really big, I was going to say inefficiencies, but it's a little bit more than that. Deficiencies would probably be better. Standing up against that, even though that's pretty hardcore, it needs to be done. This is a multi-pronged attack, so that's not the only thing that needs to be done. We still need our congressmen and senators bombarded with letters and phone calls, so much so that they have to pay attention. I mean, how did some of these senators and congressmen change their votes on health care, if you look back at any number of things. The town halls, when everybody came and started screaming at them, and they were finding that everywhere they went, and so were all their colleagues. Somehow their words changed after that. Somehow they voted how the people wanted. I mean, it's not rocket science how all this works, right? It's a regular human thing. You pressure somebody, you keep putting pressure, and until they feel threatened, they're not going to budge. But when they do, they will do whatever the hell we want. Because we are the people. We are their boss. It's time to start showing the elites and the gatekeepers of this country that we're not going to put up with your shit anymore. We're going to come, and we're going to come fast, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm not saying we're going to commit violence. Of course not. That is not, expressly not what I'm saying. However, we gather enough people. In this day and age, me being a firm believer in critical mass has been a little hard to bring into our newer society, considering the virus and everything else going on. But it still needs to happen. Critical mass. Why is the protest now working when Occupy Wall Street didn't? It's all good trouble. Maybe it's just the time. Maybe they're being more exact. Or maybe it's like when Martin Luther King was alive, right? Now, not that someone didn't try to assassinate him in the late 50s, because that did happen. Stabbed, I believe. But, I mean, it goes back to him giving the, I have a dream speech. All the avenues of racial equality that he was seeking. People, of course, didn't like that at the time, thought he was going too far. But when did he get shot? When he really started going after the money people, the gatekeepers, trying to bring in the poor people's campaign, changing the economics, that's when he got cut down. So this is what we got to do. That's what Occupy Wall Street was trying to attack, was those same economic systems. And it didn't really seem to work out for them. Although you have, people attacking our centuries and generations and millennia long, racial equity problems in this country, in this world, really. Dark skin, light skin. It's a problem everywhere. Are we finally ready to get past all this? Being human to each other? Are we finally ready to be the people we were destined to be? Because we love each other. We see each other in ourselves. And we would never want to harm another person because we'd be harming ourselves. There's a lot of ways this can go in the future. We can ignore, it can get worse, we can try and we can fail, or we can try and try and try and try and try and try till we succeed. And it will happen. Again. Martin Luther King said the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Guess who does the bending? It's us. We do the bending. We can make that arc longer or shorter. We do have the power. We do have the energy. And we do have the good trouble to get into when obedience is just not okay anymore. Civil disobedience is the only way to make real change. Nonviolent civil disobedience, I guess that would be the civil part. Think about it. We all show up, love each other, are nice. What are they going to do? Kill or arrest millions of people? No, of course not. We have to maybe rethink that in this day and age because of this virus thing. But it can be done if it's important enough. If the reason for us standing up even matters to us anymore, does it? Do we care about making this a better world? Do we care about our brothers getting cut down in cold blood? Do we care that another mom is crying because they have to bury their kid? Do we care about that? Or not because it's not happening to us? Maybe that's the problem. When something happens to one of us, it happens to all of us. This is what we have to do, is unite around just our human behaviors, our human essence. We can do it. We can do it. We have the energy and the drive, right? The good trouble to get into. Maybe different for different people in different situations and different areas and environments, but you know what? There's something the same about it, something human about it. Because you're standing up for what's right, not what's right now, not what's wrong, what's right. Stand up. Well, I love you all, and we'll talk soon. Remember to like and share this video and hit the subscribe button. Links for all my social media, my website, and where to buy my books are in the description below. Love and gratitude will find a way. We just have to keep the conversations going. See you all soon.